everyone, welcome back to the B-Movie Bunker. Today we are looking at 2016's Batman the Killing Joke. This is based off of the classic comic book by Alan Moore and Brian Boland. This one's directed by Sam Liu. There has been some controversy. I mean, the comic book itself is fairly dark and goes to some very bad places, but there was controversy ever since this kind of, showed up at SDCC this year. And I can understand why. This review, I'm going to let you right now, it's going to be a little bit spoilery, just so you know. We're going to start off with the first, 20 or so minutes that is added to the story of The Killing Joke. This is stuff that's not actually in the comic. It all has to do with Batgirl. And don't get me wrong, this is not a weak part because it has Batgirl. It's a weak part because it feels tack on to the story, and it feels unnecessary, and it goes somewhere that I personally think it shouldn't have gone. I love Batgirl, actually, as a character. It's one of my favorite comics. I read her a bit back in the day. I loved some of the New 52 stuff when it first came out. It was some of my favorite stuff, and she's always been one of my favorite characters, even going back to the little bit she had on the original Batman series with Adam West and all that. But this whole little bit of, introduction with Batgirl and in a way, it almost feels incestuous relationship that she ends up having with Batman himself. Because Batman he's like the dad of the Batman universe, and everyone else, Robin and Batgirl, and they're like his family. So him having sex with Batgirl just felt wrong. He's always been much more of a father figure than something else, unless they were trying to somehow connect Batman Beyond with this. So that part, it's like to give Batman extra motivation for when, and as I said, this is going to be very spoilery because this is a review based on that you have read the original Killing Joke. He needed more motivation to go out and get the Joker, because now when the Joker shoots, Barbara and paralyzes her, he's extra mad because, they had that little romp. He doesn't need extra motivation to go after the Joker. It's his arch nemesis, first of all. Second of all, he doesn't need to have slept with Barbara Gordon for him to be pissed off that the Joker paralyzed her, or that he kidnapped the commissioner. He doesn't need, he's already pissed off at the Joker. You shoot Barbara, even if he hadn't slept with her, he's going to be pissed off just because of the fact that he cared for Barbara. In the way that Batman can care for people, because it's Batgirl, and as I said, he's like the patriarch, he's the dad, and you hurt one of his kids. That makes sense. Now, skipping all this intro stuff that they added on, going into the actual meat of the Killing Joke itself, the actual story of the Killing Joke, I liked it mostly. Now, I'm a fan of the Killing Joke because it goes somewhere that a lot of DC comics don't go. It goes somewhere pretty dark. DC, comic books in general don't really generally go, as far as mainstream superhero comics go, don't go to dark places. And when you're exploring characters like the Joker, come on, be honest, he's completely insane, he's going to go dark places, and this one really takes him to that edge. I do like the animation style, that kind of that classic Batman the Animated Series, with a little bit of, an upgrade, seeing as it is almost 30 years later, or 26, whatever. It's been a while. I love that they got Kevin Conroy back as the voice of Batman, and of course Mark Hamill, which to me is the only voice of the Joker. As much as I love Cesar Romero in the original Batman series, while having watched the Batman the Animated Series and just some of the other animated stuff from Warner Brothers, Mark Hamill is the Joker, and where that voice comes from, I don't want to know where inside him he found that. A lot of the actual part of this is taken right off the pages of the comic book. They use a lot of the same clothing for some of the characters. There are scenes that are pulled directly from the comic. And as I said, it does go somewhere dark. But there's just, I don't know, something about this being made into this animated form. It just doesn't seem, for me, doesn't have the same punch that it did in the comic. And that might just be because I already know, to be cliche, I already know the punchline of the Killing Joke. I already know how this thing is supposed to play out. And they change it a little bit, where the Commissioner kind of breaks in the Killing Joke, but he doesn't really break in this at all. He's gets upset, and he's all catatonic for about 5 minutes, but then he's like, I'm okay. I got over seeing all the pictures of my daughter being shot and raped. I'm good. Batman, go get him. And that, I just, it just seemed to not be as genuine as the original. And again, as I said, that might be because I'm so familiar with the material already. But I enjoyed it for parts of it. I enjoyed hearing Mark Hamill as the Joker again, and Kevin Conroy, and I like Tara Strong in any voice work she does. I mean, she was great as Batgirl, and the scenes themselves with Batgirl aren't bad. They just didn't need to be put on this. But I did like the action scenes when they have Batgirl and Batman and stuff doing little action bits. Those, I think, are actually really well done and well animated. But just, again, the movie, it didn't seem to have the same punch as the comic. And, that's kind of like saying, well, the movie's not as good as the book, which is almost always the case. And I understand that. But if you're a big Batman animated series fan, you might enjoy this. If you're just a big Batman fan, you still might enjoy it a bit. But you also may see issues with it, as I did. Still, scale of 1 to 10, it's not so much the Killing Joke as it is Batman the Flesh Wound joke. Maybe Batman the I have some kind of stomach bug and I've been pooping a lot joke. But it's not the Killing Joke. So that's all I've got for this one. Until next time, stay safe out there in the wasteland, folks.